There you go.
Everybody, welcome to a new episode here in space. Chris Connor, but I got the gang here, man. I got I'm not even gonna call it what it is. I'm gonna let Lito introduce it. So what are we apparently?
Man, we're the prominent click. We're the
Oh,
prominent click now.
all right, man. So
PPMs.
I got my dog Chance. I got my dog Five here, Stone Cold Reed Austin, man. Uh, we about to dive into a little bit of a lot of bit of the Pelicans, man. Talking about some of the most anticipated seasons in recent memory, or I mean, since the inception of this team being in the city. And how does that compare to what we're looking at now? How does that compare into the anticipation and the excitement that's leading up today? So, first off, Five, how you doing, brother? Nope.
Hello.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, how you doing, brother?
Oh shit! I didn't know you said me. My bad, man. Nah, man. I think the season is highly anticipated. I always think back to the year we swept the Blazers, right?
Yeah,
And yeah, Boogie got hurt, but we just swept a team, and like the momentum was still positive. Yet, even though that Boogie got hurt, and I went into that arena, and I was like, the crowd gonna be, it's game one of the season. The crowd gonna be with us tonight. It was like 50% filled, and I thought to myself, I'm like, damn, we swept a team in the playoff. Like, we got to the second round, and this is the reaction that we got from the city. Part of that could be like branding, marketing
yeah.
purposes. That could be a multitude of different things, but still, first game of the season is like when you go watch your cousin, your nephew, your brother, your sister, whoever it may be, and they play a sporting event, and it's the first game of the season. Everybody named mama out there, and this season, I feel like everybody named mama gonna be waiting on this season, waiting to see Zion, waiting to see the team react. I think this is probably one of the at least top two most important opening seasons for the Pelicans in recent memory.
So here are the years off the top of my head that come up when I think about, at least from my perspective, and maybe some from what I can remember how the fan base was. I mean, of course, you gotta mention the year after the one game short of the Western Conference Finals. That the following year, right, with the New Jerseys and James Posey, right. A lot of people picked that team, or were predicted that team would represent the Western Conference. Um, in the finals, and of course, it didn't happen. But that's one team. I look at that the uh, the first full year we were supposed to get of Boogie and AD. There was a lot of anticipation on that. There was a lot of excitement, revolving around that team. Even if it had some holes, it still needed to be filled. And then you got Zion's first year, right? We had a lot of conversations about him and what that team could look like, and the trade package, and Zion, Lonzo and Bi, and Josh Hart and company, and what they drew, right? Um, but those are the teams or those are the years that pop out the most for me. Um, Lito, first off, how you doing, brother? But after that, I mean, are there any other years that I missed? And for you, what do you think is number one? In your mind, is it this year, or is it one of those years that I just mentioned before?
First of all, I'm good. Appreciate you asking. So to answer your question about about the years, the the you said the one game away from the Western Conference. You said that.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That was the Gennaro Pargo game.
Yeah, yeah. So for me, that's. I mean, I don't really know how you could top that one. Personally, for me, I mean, because if you think about it, like, I mean, that team felt like they could do something. That team felt like they might have, if they could have snuck past them. Who knows what had happened. Um, I would say this team for me is probably maybe two, just because I feel like that team that swept the Blazers. I mean, after that, what the hell it was gonna go? You know what I'm saying? Like I was in the arena when Steph made that shot over AD, and like that shit was very painful. It hurt. It hurt. This team, though, I'll tell you this. my excitement for this team is very high because, for one, it feels like this team is us. It feels like, as a franchise, as the players on the team they've embraced the city. Probably for the first time since, I don't know, Chris has been there since CPP left. These guys feel a part of us. They feel a oneness with the city, and it kind of feels like the city is also like, yo, these are our guys also. Plus, they fun, man. They fun. They like each other. You know what I'm saying? They like being around each other. So my anticipation for this team is very high.
Okay, so Chaz, I'll move to you. Same thing. How you doing? Where do you see, or where does the anticipation that you dropped a lot of videos about the things that a lot of the elements that are going into this year and how teams are, how people are foreseeing it, if people are too high, if people are too low. When you look at this year versus some of those other years or any previous year you could think of, where do you think this season ranks right now?
When you say that, you mean from a fan anticipation standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, just in regards to you anticipating to see what this team can do. Maybe not it's as much as where you think they will end, but like when Boogie and AD arrived, I didn't know what was going to happen. But that was part of the fun, right? We hadn't really seen enough of it, and it was a situation where it was like, all right, I don't know how good this team can be, but I know they're different, and I know that there's nobody else that has anything similar to really compare with it. They're flawed, but it should look fun. Rondo, was on that team, so it just was interesting, right? So yeah, from that perspective,
I'm anticipating it from a coverage standpoint, but I think as far as my expectations of the team, this offseason been so strange and stagnant that kind of lowered my expectations a little bit, just because I feel like there's several around the edge moves that need to happen to kind of make me feel more comfortable with the team moving forward. But because starting off the season, is Zion going to be on the minutes restriction? Is BI going to be on the minutes restriction? Like, what's going to happen going into the season? You know what I mean? So that kind of makes me a little like, I don't know. I would probably put this season third behind the second AD and Boogie year and the James Posey year, because we were so close with CP, and then you think you add James Posey. Yeah, we was tripping. And then with AD and Boogie, you like, oh, full season, this is about to be crazy. And they didn't necessarily have the injury concerns that this roster has moving forward. I do think, though, the fans, like Five alluded to earlier, the fans got to show up early this time, yo. Like, don't wait until football season over and now, you treating the Pels like a mistress. Come, try to show up early in the game so they can feel the energy in the building. Maybe they'll start off a little faster. You got to give the team this. You got to give the fans, they got to earn the same benefit that the team has to earn. Like, you got to show up early, be consistent like you want the team to be.
So I was going to ask this question to Five, and I will. We can talk about it when he returns. But how much to that point? Because I think that is a valid point. How do you anticipate the momentum of last year and what we did with Spaces and what Rail and Sean did with Pels 12 and all the different voices, the new voices from Lido, Five, Chaz, yourself, and just the people that we got a chance to see. We watched Jake blow up. We watched some of the media members really be a bigger part of just connecting with fans. We saw Chalk Talk. We saw we saw AD kind of do his best to be an ambassador when things were the ugliest. How much do you think that momentum and how just the connection it felt like the team was trying to have with the people and how the players seem to connect with the people, do you think that will help or how much of a benefit or an adjustment might that help make when we're talking about the start to attendance and how we look at this team from game one? Five?
I ain't catch the first part of that. My bad.
Go ahead.
So reiterate your question before I say something stupid.
No. You go. So basically, I asked the momentum that we all built, right? That the community built from every person that stepped in and contributed and kind of I guess electrified the fan base, and what we saw, with some of the playoff games, and just the way the media teams around the region kind of stepped up in a lot of different ways and tried to connect more with the people. The things that were done, I mean, how much do you think that will help kind of end some of the things of the past, in which you saw, like you mentioned, the stadium game 1 50% full after such a year? I mean, do you think that what happened at the end of last year and coming into this offseason is going to make a big difference?
It's a little bit of both, right? I think sometimes NBA is a players league, right? Like, they control everything. So if you have a star on your team, they're going to bring some kind of, fan base or some kind of staple. But also we've seen that where we've had a, top, at one point, I said top 3 player in the league at one point. That's how I felt about Anthony Davis at the time. And that still didn't really make a difference. Like, they still didn't give us a solidified, superstar in the league and give us a fan base. I think both sides have saw, like, all right, you can have a superstar, but also you still need to grow a fan base through your people, through your fans, understand who those people are. And if you do that, then they will come. If you build it, they will come. And it's not all on Zion, all on Brandon. It's really on the whole organization as a whole. If you don't represent the city, they're not gonna, reciprocate that energy. I don't think this region is, has an amount of wealth to just be, showing up to NBA games. It's not that kind of city, but they will, because it's a reflection of them. But if the product doesn't reflect them, then they won't show up. They don't have that kind of energy towards it. I think one thing that the Saints do a really good job of is the attitude of the team reflects the city. So if you do that, then it can mesh really well. So just piggyback off of what you're doing on the other side, and you'll have that, you'll bridge that gap.
So speaking of representation here, if you need legal representation, holler at the people at Birdsall Law, the official attorneys of Buku Media. If you're seeking compensation for injuries, give them a call, 504-523-5413. Lito, the smile there. Lito, man, piggybacking on, I got to get that out of my vocabulary. I hate having to say that, but it's such a phrase so often. Yo, man, I mean, based off of a lot of things that Five was saying, I mean, how much do you think a lot of things that were built at the end of last year, and the momentum of that, just from a crowd interaction standpoint, and I mean, the city just seemed to be a little bit different towards how they were feeling about Pelicans basketball. But I mean, Five talked about it, Chaz talked about it. Like, we know how this goes. Even with that, when the season starts, there are Saints games being played, right? So a lot of attention is going towards there. How much do you think last year? Do you think it will help that? Do you think that you'll see more people engage early and often? And if so, is it about Zion? Is it about BI? Is it about what the city thinks the team can do? Is it about what we did? Do you think it'll happen?
No doubt. I think first of all, what Five said was like very poignant. The thing is, like, you have to build up goodwill within the city. The organization has to build that will up. If you look at where the Pelicans were at one point with the, Twitter React, there was a video, they released some jerseys, and it was like very bland, very vanilla. It had no spice. And then where they moved towards the end of the season, I mean, you got DJ Jubilee in the building, you got DJ Jess in the building, you got, Skills, and you have like actual DJs on different levels. It was a different look. It's something I've never seen the Pelicans do before. And I think that the city feels that, like Five said about the Saints. See, the Saints look at where the Saints started from and look at where they're at now, right? You build up enough momentum, you build up that goodwill. The people feel like you're one of us. It's a oneness now that I think it's starting to take a turn. I'm seeing people like seeing more Brandon Ingram jerseys, more Zion jerseys. I'm seeing like just people in the city just talking about going to different games and looking at trying to figure out what's on the schedule next season. So I do think it'll convert over. Now, like Five also said, it is on both parties. It is on the city and it is on the organization to put a product out there. So if the product is what we saw last, I think they'll have no problem with that.
K Morgan makes a good point. I think even with some of these teams, when you think about the anticipation, man, a good majority of all the teams I just named, they got off to, if it wasn't a slow start, they got off to a start that didn't match or wasn't close to their expectations. I think the team with, the James Posey team that we're talking about, the team after the semifinals run, I think that they were good, right? They started off, the year, but they weren't, it got to a point to where you were like, they're not going to be great, right? But outside of that, a good majority of, of those teams after good years, you've gotten some really bad starts to where they've been kind of battling from behind pretty much from October on. So, Chaz, how much do you think a good start? While Lito, pointing to what Lito was saying, how much do you think a good start will help with that? If they get off to a 5-0 start, or they get off to a 4-1, or they're 10-2, whatever the start is, how important do you think that is to keeping that momentum going, keeping that consistency going, and not just it being about important games in an 82-game season, not just it being about playoffs or playing games or being in the second stretch of the season?
Shout out to Jessica for that well-used pause.
Man,
that was a well-used expert pause.
Prominent click member here. Sorry,
but,
Chaz, go ahead.
I think that's fair. I think K Morgan makes a good point, but I'll also say that shit got to start at 0-0, bro.
Yeah,
like it got to start at 0-0 because you can't wait till the team is 10-0 and say, you know what, I think I'll support them now, because that makes you. That's akin to beefcake riding. You don't want to do that. You got to be down. You got to be down for the cause whether they 0-10, 1-9, 3-16. You got to 0-0 is where it got to start, because if you put in, let's say they started 0-4, right? They start 0-4. You're like, fuck it, I'm giving all my season tickets away. This shit ain't nothing. Then they go 30-6 the next 36 games. Now you ain't got no tickets no more. Like, you get all your tickets away. Just be there when it's 0-0 and play it out and see what happens.
Logan, shout out to you, bro. That's a good question. Pretty much for everybody. Like, what does success look like this season, Lito? Before you answer, I mean, I will say, I feel like getting out of the first round. To me, I do think it's a consistency or some level of pattern that we've seen most teams that build a level of winning and sustainability that normally goes at it's step by step. So maybe it's making the playoffs one year, getting in the first round, and then the next year maybe from first round to the Western Conference Final, the second round. You kind of build. Every once in a while, you'll see a team go from making it the first round and then going straight to the finals. But I don't know if that's a fair, if that's fair expectations on this team. Or maybe it is. Maybe some believe the talent is that strong, the chemistry, so on and so forth. Lito, what do you think a successful season, a successful Pelican season looks like?
For me, it's definitely so the start for me is not being in a playing tournament. Like if we're back in the playing tournament, we failed. You know what I'm saying? Especially coming off what we're talking about, the momentum we carried off into this season. Like, and I understand the whole, getting out of the first round thing, but to me, honestly, that's difficult to say because of the matchups. Like, you just don't know who's going to be where. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, you might get a bad drop, but success to me is not being in a playing tournament. If you're strong, I don't know, if you're a strong seed where you don't have to be in a playing tournament, I think that you win.
Agreed. And how about this? How about not sweat. I mean, part of that is like not sweating every single thing that happens, not sweating the fact that one person goes down and it's like, damn. I mean, you struggling against teams you should beating the teams you're supposed to beat, right? Beating the teams that you're more talented than. Those are things that we worried about, consistently over time, wondering what team was going to show up and if this guy was coming back from injury or if this guy was going to miss multiple games. Just going through the same battles and things that pretty much every team goes through, but the good ones find a way to overcome and still win through. Chaz, what about you?
Can I add something on to that real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to say also, like, success for me is like, Chaz had a video where he talked about, the young guys and coming into this year and like, slumps and growing pains or whatnot. I think success is also about rounding the roster out and letting the young guys continue to grow, continue to fill their roles, get better, like watching them get better in actual game time minutes. Like that's a level of success to me.
Chaz, go ahead. The question was directed at you originally.
I think for me, the success depends a lot on the circumstances, right? A fully healthy team against another fully healthy team. I think from the jump, you have to be a top 16. You can't be in the play-in, right? Unless there's a major injury that happens, you need to be avoiding the play-in at all costs, right? Once you get into the playoffs, because I think at this point, you need to be talking about playoffs and advancing in the playoffs, right? Once you get in the playoffs, depending on the circumstances, that's how define the success. Like if you face the Clippers and you lose, then whatever, right? You know what I'm saying? The Clippers are arguably the best team. But if you face the Clippers and Kawhi gets hurt and you lose, then I'm going to be disappointed. So it really depends on how things fall once you get into the playoffs. But I think anything below a top 6 team this season is a failure, unless there's an injury.
So let's continue to go along that line. And Logan, you had another question that I do want to get into at some point. But the success of the team, right, it has to do with the players, has to do with the coaching. I'm gonna give y'all a few different people, and I want y'all to tell me what a successful season individually for them looks like. You can pick whatever you choose, whether it's a stat line, whether it's an all-star appearance, whether it's some kind of award. Tell me. 5 for you. I'm gonna go with Brandon Ingram. After the year he had last year, what does a successful year look like for him?
Successful year for Brandon is all-star, all NBA. Like if he any level of that, I mean all-star for sure. But if he gets all NBA, then that lets me know that he's surpassing some people. A lot of people keep saying you're gonna put him against Jason Tatum or you put him against Jaylen Brown, and then it's Devin Booker, then he's gonna start creeping up this ladder. He's all right. He's gonna start getting the same kind of ESPN highlights. You know what I'm saying? Like he ain't hit a game winner this past year. It was number 10. It was number 10 on the top 10. I was like, dang, like he don't even get the love. It's like, all right, you got that one. You hit a game winner. Like, dang. If it was LeBron, it'd be number 1. But I'm not comparing him to LeBron. But I'm just saying, like, he has to get that level of stardom. One for more people to watch us. But I believe if he gets those accolades, then I know that he has arrived for sure. I think he'll be stamped at that point.
Okay, Lito, let's go with CJ. Let's go with CJ McCullum. What's a successful season look like for CJ McCullum? and does it have to be better than Desmond Bain?
Oh my gosh,
man!
Shout out to CJ, man. CJ.
I think for CJ. Okay, so let me preface it by saying this. I feel like CJ is going to have probably the most wide open looks of his career if everything goes according to plan health-wise, right? You got 2 guys who take a lot of gravity. Zion, being the one. I think the thing for CJ, and he said this for me. I think playoff-wise, right? He got to redeem himself. So I think a successful season because as Chad said, top 6 seed, right? You get back in the you get back in the playoffs. CJ he fulfills us. He's the veteran who gets us over, right? So I think that's what it looks like, and it's wild to me. Like it's wild to me that we kind of do bang on his playoff experience or his game experience because playoff CJ is a thing. Like he's a thing, dog. He's a track record. He is solid in the playoff. He's been solid. He's been a focal point of an offense.
To piggyback off what you just said, think about the onus that he just took. He said, like, I have to do better. He could have said, yeah, we wouldn't have been in the playoffs without me.
Yeah.
He could have said that shit. Would have been right.
He
would have been right. But he got in the playoffs. Yeah, he snuck it up, but he was like, yeah, that's on me. Like, dang. Like that takes some balls to do. Like I'm still rocking with him. And there's no way Desmond Bane is even in the category of CJ McCullum, but continue on. My bad.
Chad.
No, man, he right. I feel like you gotta. I'm sorry, Chris, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say just to jump back into it. Like, yeah, man, I feel like, and I'm not trying to bang on whoever said what, but I think we kind of underestimate what CJ McCollum is. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
What is he?
He a bucket. He an assassin. He a dude who used to having a ball in his hands. He creates off. He can put it like this: his offensive ability carries a lot more weight than the other guy he's being compared to. And I don't really think is that in depth of a conversation when you're talking about a guy who scores points off like spot up shooting of another superstar's gravity. Like, sure, CJ played with Dame, but like CJ get his own buckets.
Easy. I was looking at his stats the other day, man. I mean, a good majority of his buckets come off multiple dribbles, right? And you could argue that that some of that is is on him, and some of that is praise to his skill set. But I mean, man, like when I've seen so many people come through New Orleans that can't. If they dribble the ball more than 2 times, you in hell. It's refreshing to watch somebody have an array of moves, know what to do with the basketball, even if they don't always do it, just have the ability to, and hopefully some of the other things, fall where they're supposed to as things go on and chemistry builds. Chaz, what does a successful look like for Willie Green?
Oh God, this guy.
Wait.
I thought I was
huh? Willie Green and Valanciunas.
Oh shit. With Coach, I think Coach. I don't put all the onus on him, but I think as he continues to develop and to grow, understanding late game situations, understanding rotations earlier, and I think sometimes it's good to second guess yourself. Like when your first thought is to put Tony Snell in the game, take a second guess to say, hold up, wait a minute. Have I considered everything? Right? But I think coaches got to keep ascending, keep doing him. I think they got to keep putting him in a position to succeed. But I would like to see him have a longer leash pause with young guys. Like I would like to see him kind of, like give some of the younger guys an opportunity to prove themselves and or fail versus, going to Garrett Temple. Like, as far as JV, of course, I don't think his stats are going to look the same because he's going to have less of a workload this year. For him, for me, a successful season would be to see him maybe in better shape, a little more mobile. You know what I'm saying? If he comes back the exact same person he was, but just with less wear and tear on his body, just because he's playing less minutes, I would be happy because he's someone who I'm physically concerned about, like kind of breaking down. So if he's just the same guy with less workload and better shape, I would be happy with that for him.
I do like the question. What was it? Who comes off the bench first and why? 5, go ahead. I'm ignoring this Desmond Bane, CJ.
I noticed.
You're not moving it though.
6 man. Hold on.
You know what? We will ask. No, I'm not. I'm not. 5. Go ahead.
I'm trying to think. Like who? That's tough because Willie likes to do this thing where he'll sub in 2, so you really don't know who the true 6 is. It's really like a 6 and a 7 coming in at the same time. So, that first break is probably going to be a Zion. I don't think he's playing like a full 12. Like they wouldn't give him that. Usually Brandon and Zion probably will get the the boot first. Zion first more than Brandon. So I think actually it'd probably be Trey Murphy if I were to really think about it. Trey is probably going to be the 6th man. Like he can play multiple roles. You can go from 2 to 4. So you let him balance that. Then you get more space for CJ, Brandon, i.e. either together or not together to work. And then he can just play off everything. So I think that's probably a 6 man is Trey Murphy.
Something tells me if Jackson Hayes is on the team, it will be Jackson Hayes. Lito, go ahead.
Well, maybe it's him, the both of them together. Like maybe they.
No. Because remember. I'm trying to think. Well, what we saw a lot from Zion when he was playing full minutes, it was he would start the first, he would exit out, and then he would control the second unit. At least that's what happened with Stan, right? He would run. That's what's going to be interesting. How does Willie use Zion? What parents does he like? And I do want to, I want to kind of dig into that 2-man, 3-man parents that y'all like, that y'all are interested to see play together. That are going to be important. But yeah, Lito, do you have anything to add in regards to who comes off the bench first? Everybody, we love Jose. You got Jackson there, you got Trey. There's Dyson Daniels, right? For you, it doesn't even have to be who you think's coming first off the bench. Who would you bring first off the bench?
I'm bringing Trey first. I'm with James. I'm bringing Trey and I'm bringing Jose. I'm not bringing Jackson at all. That's just me though. I feel like with the elevation, I feel like Trey is going to take from what I've seen from him in the preseason. I know summer workout videos don't really count to people, but just the uptick in how he's handling the ball, how he looks so comfortable, off the dribble and what he's doing. Man, I feel like that kid is primed for like a breakout season. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying he's going to be an NBA All-Star, but I'm saying like from what he did last year for what he about to do this year, I think you about to see a different version of Trey. And I'm excited to see it. So for me, he definitely coming first off my bench because, like 5 said, 2 through 4. He can play that. Shit. What is he? 6'9", 6'10"? I don't know. If we talk, I saw somebody say death lineup. A small ball 5. Like what?
Yeah.
What?
Chaz talked about that a lot. I think in one of his videos. Chaz, what about you? You can say who you think is coming off the bench first, or you can say who you would bring off the bench first. Who would it be?
I think Trey is coming off the bench first, just because. Well, you know what? I'll say this: if the roster stays as is, I think Trey is coming off the bench first for small ball 5 minutes, because I think ideally you would have Jonas's co-starter coming off the bench for rebounding and defense. But I think since I believe Zion is going to be running a lot of the second unit, it would be ideal to bring Trey off the bench first. Ideally, CJ is coming off the bench first. In a totally ideal world, CJ is coming off the bench first. But again,
I didn't think you would put that on Cat. That's crazy.
No, hey, but
that's
crazy. What matters? You know what matters? Kevin Durant agrees with me.
Oh my God,
that's what matters. Kevin Durant agrees with me. So
you couldn't help yourself. You could. This is like Spaces, like on video. Like that's what this is right now. What are we doing? You know what's funny?
It's Trey. Trey gonna come on the bench first.
We keep mentioning small ball 5. Larry Nance.
Yeah.
He could be a guy that's coming off the bench first. I don't think that there's a simple answer. I think, for better or for worse, as the team got more talented, we saw a lot of experimenting with, based off of who was. Now I didn't. There go Chaz with the foolishness. Hey man, hey, look. I I do want to ask about that because everybody had a perplexed face. Yeah, okay. Now everybody's gonna ask now. CJ off the bench. If that's the case, Chaz, what's the starting lineup?
That's a great question.
In an ideal world, right?
In your ideal world.
In my ideal world, Zion, Bi, JV, Herb, and insert talented player. Right.
What does that mean?
Insert. Truthfully, man, it could just be a guy who can give you some level of defense and shooting. It doesn't necessarily have to be a guy with the same offensive load as CJ. Right.
So I think.
Say again. You want me to name a player?
Yeah, you got to.
Somebody who would be available. Well, they're not available anymore, but I was on the DeJounte Murray train, pause. I thought he would be an ideal fit because if you believe Fred Vincent can fix Dyson Daniels' shot, you have to believe he can fix the DeJounte Murray shot.
I see what you're saying.
It's like somebody who could, in late game situations, knows what to do with the basketball. They have a nice handle. They're not going to dribble the ball off their foot. They're not going to do nothing goofy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Somebody who's just a consummate floor general.
I didn't think it would go there, man. We gonna move forward here, man. So one of the in regards to pairings, right? I mean that's very important in these rotations, right? Everything goes along with. I mean in finding out who plays well together and who doesn't, you got to find the right pairings. You got to find just certain guys have weird chemistry with one another on the floor that you just can't, it just happens, right? So, and it may be guys you don't expect. It could be Najee Marshall, right? So, for you guys, like what lineup pairs are you most interested to watch? Are you most excited about? I think for me it's definitely Zion, Trey, and Herb. Because I don't think small ball, whether that be Zion at the 5, whether it be Herb at the 5 or Trey at the 5, however you want to frame it, I think that is still something that you have to see and that you will see even with the addition of Larry Nance for a full year. But are there any other lineup pairings? I mean, they could be off the wall. They could be something that's that's obvious that you guys are interested in seeing.
Three lineup or
it could be 2-man line. It could be a 2-man game. It could be, but I mean, for the sake of the conversation, let's talk about a 3-man grouping or a 3-man pairing. So I mean, mine was Zion, Trey, and Herb.
Mine would be Zion, Trey, and Bi. Simply because I'm really curious to see how Willie's going to use Zion coming back. You know what I'm saying, from injury, like and where Bi left off from. I would love to just see how he's going to use it in a vacuum. And I think regardless of how he uses him, I want Trey in Atlanta because Trey is simply going to win regardless. He's got the gravity. He's got the shooting gravity. You can't really just leave him like that. And plus he is athletic as hell, right? So he's rebounding. He's getting put back dunks. I mean, he's putting people in the rim. I think that where Bi left off as far as like a shot maker last season to where, you got Zion maybe, cutting baseline now or wherever the hell he at, like you're not just going to leave Zion either. So I just really want to see how that lineup plays out because shit, you can't cover everybody.
Yeah. 5, what about you? Is there any lineup pairing? Could be one that's obvious and maybe one that isn't talked about enough. What about Trey? Not a good rebounder. Who said that? What? That bro. Those aren't facts.
That's a wild take. People talk about me. That's a wild take.
He's not great, but he's definitely a good.
Trey's really good rebounder.
That's disrespectful. I hope that was a joke. He ain't. Jesus Christ. All right, 5. Go ahead.
Now, I think Chaz might have alluded to it where Zion playing with the second unit. I would love to see Jose, Zion, and Trey. Jose's ability to create off of Pnr, Trey in a corner, then it's Zion for us. Like it's madness. Like what are you gonna do? And then Jose can't shoot it. So the give back, like it's so much to deal with, and he's a really good finisher at the rim. To be short, like he's not bad. So there's so many options when it comes to those three. I think he's probably our best Pnr guard in a sense. Like I think he is. I think CJ probably shoots it a little bit too much. He doesn't really look for the right play. He just looks for his right play, and that's okay. Like I expect that, but Jose is always making the right play, always. So that trio is probably what I'm most interested in seeing.
You know what's interesting, Five, about what you just said about CJ in the pick and roll. The one guy that he was very successful with, statistically and analytics would show, and even the eye test would show that he was trying to build chemistry with earlier, was Jonas. I'm curious in that 2-man game, because those two may have to lead certain lineups, right? Willie might choose to, I mean, I wouldn't, but maybe it's a possibility that you could, right? He might choose to sit Zion and BI at the same time. I mean, it might make actually good sense, right? So if you choose to do that, then you're gonna be looking at a lot of CJ and JV, and you watch some of the centers that CJ's played with over time, from Nurkic and company. I mean, it's similar body types in regards to how they, height and where they end up typically. I guess where they get their own at around the rim is typically it's in similar spots. And you can see him throughout the year trying to find that chemistry, trying to find, is he do I throw the pocket pass here, the bounce pass off the roll, or am I throwing him a lob or a lead, or off the pick and roll? Am I looking for the matchup and throwing it into a post? I'm curious to see if those guys continue to work on chemistry, how that looks, because I think that's going to be an important element. And the numbers say it was very successful. So
Chris, you know why though?
Why?
Because CJ was on a league pass watching Jonas try not to strangle Noah when he had position in the post, and that man would not get that man a ball. He saw him having a fit with that shit, and he was like, you know what? You're right. I'm gonna get you the ball, bro.
I don't know why. And for Laura, she saw my face when you said CJ and JV. The first thing that popped in my mind was, God, I hope we playing make it take it in the half court and we get the ball first, because them boy, that shit gonna be brutal. But what trio I think would be really cool for is Jax, Jose, and Trey. And I say that because Trey stretching the floor and Jax, this would be the best. It's crazy. Jose would be the best point guard Jax ever played with. That's mind blowing to think about. Because Drew wasn't really a point guard. We're not gonna say Bledsoe. We're gonna say Satoransky. Like, what I'm saying?
Your only other option is Lonzo. To be honest.
And Lonzo is kind of just like a guy. He's not even like really. Oh, we can say Lonzo. He's okay. Let's say Lonzo. I give Lonzo that. But Lonzo couldn't get past fucking free throw line. Nah, I stand by what I said. It's Jose. I stand by what I said. It's Jose. It's Jose.
How about this? For his skill set, for what he needs, Jose's the best fit.
That's a better way to put it. That's a better way to put it.
I don't want to see Jackson seeing the Smoothie King Center except on a poster. Listen, brother,
look,
if he on a poster, that ain't no good either.
Look, motherfuckers say that, but I'm saying, I guarantee you, Jax go to a team with competent guard play. Jax go somewhere with fucking Ish Schmidt. Jax scoring 20 points a night on 8 shots. People gonna be like, damn, why couldn't he do that here? He could have. He just ain't have no point guards. But that's neither here nor there. I think Jax, Trey, and Jose would be a very interesting lineup if Jax is here.
All right, y'all. I was about to cut this off, but the numbers continue to rise. So I'll let it run for another 15 here. Is there I'm kind of out of things here, man. So I mean, we'll pull up some of these comments if y'all have any questions. My esteemed panel, if y'all have any topics that y'all want to speak about, go ahead.
Yeah, what I want to ask y'all, what do y'all think the team's goals are going into this season? Like the organization, what do you think their goals are?
Like record wise though? Or just
like for record and accomplishment. Like, do y'all feel like they realize they're on the clock?
What clock?
Come on, not everybody. Nobody knows
the clock. It's the perfect time for you to plug this show, brother. I'm throwing you a lie.
But hold on, look. The world keeps spinning.
Listen,
this is what I said.
I think he Kiki Shepard.
I dig it, Chris. What I was saying was the clock as far as like, all right, look, it's a brand new sport year with the team, right? We all know how things were going in December, going into this new year with Zion, right? We all know contracts don't mean shit anymore. So now you have 3 max level players on the team, right? The plan isn't going to cut it anymore at this point, right? Even reasonable or not, you're going to have guys that have expectations on this team. Guys are tired of missing playoffs. Guys, they're seeing their peers go to the NBA finals. They have, they want things for themselves in their career. Do you think the team itself feels that pressure, or do you think the team itself kind of feels like, oh, everyone is content at this point?
I hope they don't feel content. I hope that's not the case. I would hope that they want to see it. Like, you have to think championship. I know that doesn't always seem realistic, but you have to think championship anytime you step on the floor. Yeah, sometimes it just doesn't go your way. Some people just don't have the mindset, but I think right now, you have the talent enough to make it a possibility. So if that's ever a case, you need to go for it. You need to shoot for it, because those windows are short-lived. They're really short. And when you're in a small market, they're even shorter. So I would hope that the organization sees this as an opportunity to go really far and do something very special that we've never done before. It's just up to the team, the organization, and the players to fulfill that.
I mean, listen, Five. I like what you said, because look, right, you could be Memphis. Memphis had a really good regular season, and they've kind of surpassed expectations pretty much every year since Ja has arrived, right? But I don't look at that roster, and we're talking top end talent next outside of Ja. I don't see. I like Desmond Bane, but I don't, and I like Jaren Jackson Jr., but I don't see the talent that you want, the top end talent, another top 10, another top 25 player next to Ja to be able to say, okay, that team should be in the finals. You can make an argument if the Pelicans are upright, they have at least 2 of those guys, right? If things are, projecting in the way that we think they should. So, I mean, yeah, if you think you got 2 top 25 players, you should be thinking, even if you don't think you're going to the championship this year, you think like it's in the like it should happen. It's a realistic possibility. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's and that's good, and that's okay. So I ain't mad at that. I mean, I don't know. I can't tell no professional athlete you shouldn't be about a championship. No, you should. You should. Should you be realistic? Should you be saying we're not there yet? There's steps. History shows that you got to take one ladder step at a time, surely. But should you be thinking with the amount of talent and the pieces that I think are there in a lot of areas, should you be thinking like we got a chance to win a championship relatively soon? Yeah. But, I think the reality of it is that either A, the talent on your team has to continue to develop and blossom, or you need to add more on the back end one way or another. Lito.
Yeah. So a couple things. The Memphis thing, I'm totally with you. I feel like they peaked. I think there'll be regression from them coming into the season. I know we talk about Desmond Bane, but I feel like losing DeAnthony Melton was like, saying that's gonna hurt them. I feel like as far as the Pelicans goes, you gotta think health, internal growth and development, and like Florence said, adding talent. I think we gotta show up the bench. You gotta show up the bench. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion, you got. I'm not trying to shit on Jax, but I do agree with what Chad said. I feel like in a different scenario where the timeline we have isn't the timeline that we got, I think for sure we would have time to develop him, and I think he would be that 20-point guy. You said 20-point game or guy you saying on shots, but like right now, defensively, he's not the player that we need him to be. He's not going to be in those spots. And I think Larry Nance is coming and superseded what he can do just because of experience and I guess age, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like for the Pelicans, let's say we win 48 games next year.
Yeah.
Right? 40. I mean, that's fair. I technically I said between when we did the other pod, I said between 42 and 45, right? But I feel like that's a win. I feel like that's a win for us, and that has to be an organizational goal. Like, you don't want to be a team that like you don't want to be stagnant. If they're coming into the season stagnant, that's a fail. We failed. You have to get better in all areas of the organization.
So, Chaz, let me, and we can kind of close out with this. A lot of people agree with you, right? That talent needs to be added. But there is a such thing as adding, quote unquote, the right talent. Okay. Because I'll give you an example. Like you say, DeJounte Murray was a guy that you thought was an easy addition. And I mean, I think I could see that. Yeah, I'm with that. From what he can give you on both sides of the, or the floor. Kevin Durant, right? No brainer, addition, right? You have to in some respects to that. But what if, like, where's the bar there? Like, let's say they go out. Let's say it's Bradley Beal. Is Bradley Beal the right talent? Does it matter because of the level of player he is? That's my question. Is it just add talented player, right? Sign here, or is it has to be a fit of both? Because if it's both, then you also need to see what you have in some of these young guys, just in case they take a leap that we don't see coming.
I think when it's cost effective, I think you just add general talent. And the reason I say add general talent versus adding the right talent is because it's very tough to evaluate what's the right talent when your two superstars never play. So it's like, and until I see 65 games, 70 games, I'm going to have to classify you as a guy that never plays. Like, that's just going to be your bag. Like, you know what I'm saying? You can prove me wrong. Play 65, 70 games. Fuck it. It's the power in your hands. But I think you just have to add talent because let's say it was Bradley Beal, for example, right? Yeah, the idea of Bradley Beal isn't as great anymore as it might have been in prior years, and it might even come across as a little redundant. But at the same time, you have to presume that your superstar players the goal for your superstar players is like playing 50 games together. Like that's a really low bar for a team that hasn't gone to the playoffs or ever really proven they can win at a high level. So I think you add another high-end player, regardless of if it's, I don't care if you got 2 point guards. If your 2 point guards get injured all the time, go get Colin Sexton. Like just do it because you need insurance for these.
So look, I'll give you one. How about Kevin Porter Jr.?
Kevin Porter Jr.
When it comes to talent with the basketball, he's one of the. If we talking strictly talent, he's
I don't know if we have. I don't know if the locker room is strong enough to support a Kevin Porter Jr. But
wait, I thought we was just adding talent.
But look, I was about to say, if it's going strictly based on talent and the motherfucker who can put the ball in the hoop, I told y'all, I don't care about people's personal lives. I don't care. I don't care if you like what you that's that's what's up. That's on you, right? I'm cleaning my own backyard first before I clean somebody else's backyard. So if he was gonna come in and ball and do his thing and help us win a few games, fuck it, let's do it. If he becomes a problem, he has talent. I can flip him and he'll become an asset versus a really nice guy who can't do shit. Can't give me shit on the floor, but he's a great guy, and he got wine, and I'm not even gonna go there. But anyway, he's a nice guy, I'm gonna mute myself.
5, man.
Now, I think there is a balance, but where do we set the bar of like internal growth? And when I say internal growth, I mean like the intellectual part, because we've seen over the let's take back the last 3 years. We haven't seen these players get smarter consistently. We have yet to see these players really get smarter. They make the same mistakes all the time. We have been bottom 3 in defensive 3-point shooting for the last 3 years. Nothing has changed. We've been bottom 3 in 3-point makes. Nothing's changed.
Has Fred Vincent been here the last 3 years?
I think he's been in the last 10. But
okay, I want to make sure.
That's like my issue is we don't understand what good shots are and at appropriate times. And then adding CJ, because CJ is going to take shots and he's going to make some, he's going to miss some, and that's just who he is. So when you see CJ do that, does that rub off on anybody else? I don't think Brandon Ingram ever takes a bad shot. Like, to be honest, like it's a rarity. I think he always has the advantage, but that doesn't necessarily rub off on the other players, because Naw had the ultra green light. You know, we've seen players take shots. Lonzo had an ultra green light to shoot, and I don't think he was a bad shooter at the time, but we don't take good shots consistently to win games. We talked about this. This is probably my last statement. We talked about getting to the finals. Look at the Phoenix Suns. I never thought they were the most talented team. They were not. You couldn't tell me when you saw them at the beginning of the season that they were the most talented team. Yes, you need talent to win, but also it takes the intellect to go with that. I think they were a very, very smart team, and we have to bridge the gap of talent and intellect. That's what we need to do. So
Lito, let me ask you something, because Boston is the example in a lot of situations where I go to. Right. I don't know where you rank Jaylen Brown, but you at least have one top 15, one top 10. I mean, wherever you rank Jason Tatum, you at least have him. Jaylen Brown's in the top 30. And then where do you rank Marcus Smart? Where do you rank Robert Williams III? Right. They have things that they specialize at, right? That they're very good at. But if we're talking overall, where you rank them in the league, they're not top 10 elite talented players, but that team made the finals. Is it as simple as some think in regards to talent? Is it more complicated? Is it a little bit of both?
Yo, nothing is simple. If it was simple, we'd been in the finals. We'd have been there. You know what I'm saying? It's a situation where I'm gonna tell you this, in my opinion, right? You got it's a situation where if you believe Zion and BI are a top 5 duo in the NBA, as we did a pod on, right? Then it's all on their shoulder. They got to make the shit work. Regardless of what's there or what's not there, they got to be the glue that holds that shit together. And you want to see BI become a top 10 player or Zion become a top 10 player in the NBA. Because, like you said, with Jaylen and Jason, right? Like, you know, sometimes they might do the dirty work in Jason guarding KD when they swept the Nets, or, you know, my bad, or Jaylen in the finals. Like, Jaylen had a pretty decent finals, right? And I think that's what you want from your team when you talk about internal growth and development. That is that. I'm talking IQ wise. I'm talking like actual development wise, as far as the 3 ball and all these other things. So yeah, man, I think, like you said, talent depending on the situation of talent. No, I don't want Kevin Porter Jr. because he's a head case. I don't want him. He would not. I don't think he would fit in here from what I've seen in his last 2 situations, and I don't think he'd be a good fit for this team.
I think
with high IQ talent, yeah, definitely.
I think to the Boston point too, you also got to know how to take advantage of situations, opportunities when they present themselves. You know, they don't care that Kyrie going through Ramadan. They don't care. Like, they don't care that, you know, what's his man, Ben Simmons back. I was about to say something crazy. Ben Simmons back messed up. You
were about to say something.
I was about to disrespect Ben Simmons, but they don't care. Like, you know what I'm saying? They didn't care Chris Middleton got hurt. You know what I'm saying? Know what they didn't do? They didn't say, well, guys, the Bucks lost in the finals because we wore them down. They don't say lame shit like that. You know what Rondo told Isaiah Thomas when Rondo was about to fight? He was like, nigga, y'all hanging Eastern Conference banners. We hang championship banners around here.
Chris Paul.
No. He told that to Rondo told that to Isaiah Thomas when Isaiah Thomas was with the Lakers. Remember they had that fight in the Pelicans?
Yeah. But, he told Chris Paul would never win a championship.
Oh, that's disrespectful.
Yeah. And
I believe him though.
He ain't lying.
He ain't lying, man. I believe him. Vegeta, he's Vegeta.
Listen, that's
who Vegeta ever beat.
But look, I mean, so even
Android 18. Oh, that's the only person he ever beat. Android 18. He ain't never beat nobody. Vegeta ain't never won shit. And I like Vegeta. But Vegeta ain't never beat no.
Oh man,
go ahead.
This is a really good conversation. any other questions before we close out, man? Y'all got up here any other points from the panel, man, and then we gonna let y'all get out of here.
Yo, I see, you know, I saw a couple people asking about Kyra and like why you so quick to get rid of Kyra, but it's kind of like my only question to you is where does he go find minutes at? Like where are you gonna insert him in the game plan?
You would have to, I guess. Would y'all say it's Kyra versus DG or Kyra versus Jose?
It's probably versus DG.
Yeah, I think Jose surpassed him. Like Jose.
Yeah. I think he passed. I think he passed both of them. Actually.
But how about this? What is Kyra? Is Kyra truthfully a point guard, or is he better being an off ball too? Is he better with or without the ball in his hands long term for his career?
I think with the ball in his hands because he's so fast. If his speed isn't expected, I mean, it hasn't deteriorated due to his injury. I never really seen a lot of off ball things from Kyra that I've seen.
What's the difference between I mean, Colin is better, but like game play style of Colin and Kyra, right? Like, I mean, if you consider Colin a point guard, what do you consider Kyra? Is what I'm asking.
Wait, Colin,
Colin Sexton.
Yeah,
I think he's a way better player. I think
he's
more.
I'm saying play style because he was asking to see a point guard. So I'm like, do you consider is Colin a point guard? Because Garland came and
he's a really good scorer and he's efficient at it. So like his position, it really doesn't even matter. I mean, I think traditionally he's a point. For me, I think he has more of a scoring mindset. But you know, due to you know his height and his weight, I would rather him be the point guard. But it doesn't even really matter. I mean, I think you just got to find the right fit for him. Put him in lineups where you know, okay, if you know he's a guy who wants to put the ball up, then run him with more second units, whatever the case may be. But Colin's a bucket getter. Kyra's still trying to figure out what he is.
I think
and that's what I'm asking. What is he?
I think he's a perfect example of what what's the dude, man? The snitch, the dude who got ratted on. Played with Timberwolves. D'Angelo. Kyra is an athlete. He's not a basketball player. He has no tangible basketball skill that I've ever witnessed.
Jesus.
He can run, he can dunk, and I've seen him make a couple wide open jumpers. But I've never, when people say, "Oh, Kyra was figuring it out," no, you know why he was figuring it out? Because he couldn't read at first. So if a motherfucker can spell his name, that don't mean he's intelligent now. He couldn't read at first. He was starting in hell. Now he's in the dirt. That don't mean that he's doing better. He was just starting so low that anything he does is going to look good. Like Kyra is not good. Like he's not going to be good.
At least with D'Lo though, like you knew D'Lo can score.
Yeah, he was nice.
Yeah, he can score. He can score the basketball. So that even at worst, it translates long term in him being a 6-man and having, you know, a long career at that. If he bottoms out, I think he's better served to be a 6-man. But I think some people are still living off that Brooklyn year, right, where he put things together. He quote unquote led a team. You know, I don't know. You know, you can you know, it's up to you how you see that and see him. But at least I know with him, he's a bucket getter. I don't know what Kyra is. I don't know what he is. I don't know. Is he a facilitator? Is he someone that's going to get his? Does he have the mentality for that? Is he a defender? That's why I asked, is he better at 1 or 2? I know he's fast with the basketball, but I've watched him be fast with the basketball and consistently miss layups. He doesn't draw contact consistently, so he's still finding himself. And unfortunately, through injuries and through that rookie year, he hasn't had, to be honest, he hasn't had enough time on the floor to even find out who he is as a pro. So
Kyra is out of here.
Down that fast?
Yes, because I can read. Kyra is out of here. That's what Kyra is. We know what he is. He was a bad pick. We should have got Halliburton. And
Maxey.
But you couldn't get Halliburton. Halliburton was gone.
Maxey.
Yeah, we couldn't get Halliburton. But what we could have got was a dude in Philly killing everything right now. But no, we got Kyra.
The thing that disappoints me about Kyra, like I know he's not a good shooter, and that's fine because he's a young player, and young players technically can't shoot. He's out there.
Go ahead, Lito.
No, bro, but the thing that like is just disappointing is like, yo, you're underrated, you're undersized guard, and you don't have a floater.
Ooh. And that was one of the things people was saying that he was nice at. It just hasn't translated.
No, this is my issue with Kyra. He has this elite speed, getting pickpocketed at half court.
Pat Bev.
Wait, what? So the speed doesn't even. What's the speed for? Jesus. Oh, on a fast break? Yeah, I got 100 guys that can run on a fast break.
God, y'all remember that game?
Yeah.
In Minnesota to start the year.
Pat took his heart.
Anybody to help BI?
To be fair, Pat Bev then violated a couple people. But Kyra just like
no, that's a sin, dog. That's a cardinal sin. You don't get pickpocketed at half court when you got this elite speed.
Dog.
Oh, so your one weapon that you have, you don't even know how to use it.
And that's
the thing. That's why I say he's just an athlete. Like he's really
Darius Hayward says. It don't matter how fast you are if you don't know what if you don't know what to do with it. You know what I'm saying?
We had Barrett Temple bringing the ball up the court.
Dog.
What is we talking about?
Yeah, James, right. It was back-to-back plays.
Back-to-back plays. And coach was like, Tip, get in. Bring the ball up the floor.
That's what I'm saying. Dog, people crazy, dog. People talking about he was rounding the turn. He couldn't beat out Satoransky.
Oh man, yeah.
Satoransky looked like fucking Herman Munster out there. He was dead.
Hey, Stan Van Gundy might have had a better hand than Kyra, dog. If we keep
that's crazy. That's crazy. That's mean, but I'm not. All right.
Yeah, yo. I ain't never seen Kyra put the ball behind. I just never seen Kyra really. Yeah.
Yo, it's having a sports car. It's like having a sports car and like that bitch a 4-cylinder. Like what?
It's like Frank Jackson.
You know what it is? It's a slow speedboat. Why? What we doing with
that? Yeah. Just like I wish him well though. I wish him well.
I think we all do. I don't think we would. Nobody here wishes ill on him. It just kind of it's a numbers game and it's a production game at this point. And whatever you point at, whatever the reasons why things haven't worked, just kind of is what it is. Other guys came in and with it's hard because look, right, you wanna say on one end, okay, well he hasn't had enough time. But Jose didn't have enough time. Jose came in. You know what I mean?
Like dude, 13th though, while Sadiq Bey and Tyrese Maxey was on the board, though.
Yeah, it's tough.
It happens.
It became about Kyra, but it kind of is what it is.
Yeah, it happens.
All right, y'all, man. Listen, I appreciate y'all, everybody that pulled up here, man. I feel like it was a good show, man. Shout out. I don't know if Five will return in time, but shout out to Lito, shout out to Chaz. Y'all click in with the Godcast, Lito's Rants. Y'all click in with Hot Takes with Cheddar Chaz. Make sure to subscribe. Like, retweet, repost, do whatever you got to do, man. Boo Crew doing some special shit, and it's only the beginning, man. So shout out to everybody here, man. Closing thoughts, arguments, Lito.
I mean, shit.
All right, closing thoughts, Chad.
Don't be afraid of success. Don't be afraid of success,
Lito. I mean, shit.
Closing thoughts. Stop going for what you know and go for what's working. Don't do what you're comfortable with doing. Do what you see working. Don't pull a man who ain't played in 13 games off the bench to shoot the side of the backboard. You don't got to do that. don't got to do that. He definitely he's bingo.
All right, y'all, man. This was love. Shout out to all the people that commented, showed that shared this, man. We was in space. Now we out.
Peace.
Wow.